Well, I got one that's a little bit different for you today, guys, but I thought a good opportunity to kind of share with you some of my other interests and hobbies. And also maybe some of you guys are interested in this kind of stuff. But I was packing some things up after our little family vacation to the mountains, which I borrowed from these packs here. And I thought, why not just go over what we have in our bug out bags? Now, I think bug out bags are important, and I think everyone should have one ready to go, at least one, or potentially one for each member of your family. Now, I don't consider myself a prepper per se, but I like to be prepared for certain situations, especially living on the East Coast. We spent many years in Charleston and been in situations where there was a hurricane coming and they lock everything down and you're not supposed to leave your home. Well, I don't like being in that situation, so I like to have a four-wheel drive vehicle in the family or in the fleet, and I like to have a couple of bags prepared and ready to go if we need to just get the hell out of somewhere really fast. Now, we used to do a lot of camping and a lot of rustic camping, so there's actually, a main purpose for these packs, and that was sort of our camping pack, and this is the big one that I would carry. It's because it held the most equipment, and obviously for a bug out bag or just a pack in general, you don't want it to be super heavy. You don't want it to be like 50% of your body weight, because that would be insane. But starting off with a nice pack, a nice reinforced pack that can distribute the weight over your shoulders and your waist goes a long way. And we really loaded this thing down. And again, this was for camping, but it's sort of now, as it's packed up with all of these things together, I'll show you that at the very end, how I put all this stuff together. So it's just easily, you can just toss it in the back of the vehicle and you're ready to go. But this held a lot of stuff that would essentially be our camping pack, and the packs that the girls would carry would have some additional items. Well, let's just go through it here, because I feel like there's some main components that every bug out bag or every prepper's bag should have, and that's fire, water, shelter, and food. Essentially four main things. And if you don't have those specific items in your pack, you need something in the form of a tool of one kind or another to ensure that you can obtain one of those four items at least. Obviously, bug out bags are meant to be something bug out, something you can grab real quick, and it's got a few of the key items in it. Now, again, this doubled as essentially our camping gear, so there's more in here probably than most bug out bags would have. But you can see that I have two tarps right off the bat. This last tarp is what covers everything at the end, and again, you'll see that. And then I have a tarp here over a kind of a grilling rack. Now, you probably wouldn't have a grilling rack in your bug out bag, but again, because this is a camping setup, really, we have one there just for convenience sake. But that's wrapped in a tarp as well to not get everything inside that bag dirty. I haven't gone through this bag for a while, so it might be a little bit of a surprise what's in here to me, but we'll start with this just outside pack here. Outside pocket. Got a little saw tool. Fire starter. We'll see if this actually even works. Oh man, nice. Been here for a couple of years. Corncob pipe. You never know what you might need to be in a situation where you need to chill a little bit. A nice knife with a leather wrapped handle. You'll see knives and cutting tools are sort of something that I really have a lot of. There's actually some stone blades in here. I'm an archaeologist by training, so I have a thing for stone tools. Tobacco for the pipe. Great. Good trading stuff too if we're in a real serious situation. Flashlight actually works. A good flashlight. It's cool to have, especially when it's really small. You can pack it away. It doesn't weigh much. A tin cup. You can do a lot with a tin cup. Melt snow, boil water, cook stuff. Toe warmers, especially in the cool months. They don't weigh much. And if you got kids, they can be important too. Sometimes you got to keep moving, and if you're freezing cold, it's hard to do it. So that's in the outside pack. Covers a lot. You see a lot of that stuff just packs right back in that cup, so it doesn't take up much room at all. Having a nice bag goes a long way too. Something that's going to be durable, something that has a lot of pockets, a lot of straps, a lot of hooks. And I mentioned water is a key thing, so metal water container, good for boiling water, carrying water, yada, yada, yada. This is a cool trick. Duct tape. Duct tape, is a very versatile tool, and it can be very handy, and you don't realize all of the things that you can use duct tape for until you really try some stuff out. There's some cool videos online what you can do with duct tape, especially in a survival situation. But this is a cool way to do it. Just take a bunch of it off and just start rolling it up. It doesn't stick, to itself, the outside of it. Obviously it's on a roll just like this. But it saves you a ton of room. You can get a lot of duct tape flattened out like this and pack it away. It's very useful. You'll see I got these little tiny hooks, carabiners. This is a weak one, but you never know what you might need to hook or dangle from the outside of your bag. Let's see, I got a bunch here as well. Go to the other side. This is a good thing to have. This is Gerber, not too expensive, pretty decent quality. It's basically, geez, Louise, one-handed. A nice machete. You can see this one's got some use, good for cutting limbs, cutting branches, clearing pathways. Again, this is more of a kind of a rustic camping tool, but you never know if you're on the run. World War III, whatever begins, a machete is a great tool to have. Another knife. This is a Kershaw knife. This is actually a folding knife, and this was the first knife that my dad ever gave me for Christmas, probably when I was like in maybe 4th grade. It's probably 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, something like that. Unbelievably sharp, and I've had this knife forever. And I say unbelievably sharp because when I opened this thing for the first time, I actually dropped the plastic and it floated down and split on the blade. Crazy. It's just another little leather pouch. It's tied to one of the straps of the bag. You can keep whatever you want in there. Flints and stuff like that. Fire starters, good place to keep that. Speaking of fire starters and whatnot, I know what's in this top pouch. So, like I said, fire is one of the 4 main things that you need to think about when you're in a survival bug out prepper situation. So many ways to start fires is key. Matches don't always work. Waterproof matches aren't always a good thing. You can't always rely on Bic lighters or fire starters, things like that. And especially if the wood and surrounding area is damp or wet or it's raining, you really need to be able to start a fire in that situation. And this, I've found, is an excellent way to do it. This might look a little funky to you guys, but these are just cotton balls soaked in Vaseline. Just roll them around in a bunch of Vaseline, and then I shaved some magnesium, which is just part of a fire starter. You've seen them, the magnesium strips or whatever. You just shave the little piece of magnesium. It sticks to the Vaseline. The Vaseline burns slow. It'll help catch a good flame and stay lit, and the magnesium burns really, really hot. So it's going to help with starting that wet, damp kindling that you're trying to get going in a rough situation. This is awesome to have, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. You can pack a lot of Vaseline soaked cotton balls into a little plastic container like this. And I think this is like it's for like gum, one of those little gum containers. More fire starting stuff, Vaseline, waterproof matches in a waterproof container, more matches, hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is helpful to have out there in the wild, but that stuff actually burns too. Another leather pouch. You never know when you're going to need to carry something. This, again, more of a camping thing, but if you got room for it in a pack, it doesn't weigh a lot. Little plastic containers with some fishing lures and some fishing line. You probably don't even need that many, but if you have a few little fishing lures in a little container with some fishing line, you catch yourself some fish in a real tight situation. If you're near a lake, compass, and then we'll go in this little inner pocket here. A multi-tool. Very good to have. Paper. Just fold it up. Paper. Again, good for starting fires, some type of kindling. If you have to leave a note, you can use paper for a lot of things. Bandaging wounds, potentially. harmonica. You never know when you need some music, right? And a stone for sharpening knives. While we're still on the outside of this pack, a blanket, just because you can. Pillow, comfort, covering something. And then inside here, actually rolled up, is some rope, some climbing rope. There you go, and that all just rolls up, straps to the bottom of the bag. It helps distribute some weight too toward the bottom of the pack. Your top heavy. And now let's get into the internal workings of this bag. You can see it has a separator down here, but I have a water bottle, and then below that is some like cooking stuff, some pots and plates, and stuff. That's handy to have. It does add a lot of extra weight, so if this were like a true bug out bag, I'd probably take that stuff out of there. Maybe keep one of the items. And then this tarp and the rack actually goes in here. See, just like this. String it up tight. Sweet. That's all packed up in this one pack. Let me put this up. It's probably maybe 45 pounds, something like that. Not terribly heavy. I'd say probably the max I'd want to carry for a bag like that is like 60 pounds. Now, this stuff was always kept in my Jeep. Well, my old Jeep, my XJ, I didn't put it on the blue Jeep. Put it in on the blue Jeep. But this is actually a seat cover with whatever you call this, the Molly or Mole straps. So this would be on the back of the front seat. Keeps everything handy. This would just be tossed in the back of the Jeep. Now, how I store it is the tarp wrapped around this bag. You'll see it, and then this wrapped around the outside of the tarp. So I have everything all in one neat bag, and it's held together by this rope. So I can just grab the rope and throw everything in whatever vehicle we need. Now this has sort of the remaining items that I would normally pack in a single bug out bag. This is just like a little trash bag, or you can use it as a water holder for like if you have dogs. It's nylon in there, so it's pretty waterproof. You can fill it with water and get a quick drink. Another multi-tool. I think there was a flashlight or something in there I might have borrowed for our trip. Water, fill this up, clean it out regularly, keeping fresh water. This bag was more for like first aid. So rubbing alcohol here. I think there's some gauze and stuff in this bag. This actually had a little waterproof neoprene jacket for one of the dogs, the small dog. So he's a little more prone to weather conditions or susceptible to negative weather conditions. And let's see, it's in here. I know I had like gauze and stuff somewhere. This is damn good Velcro. It's just little sockets that this and a blade. It's just an old like Sawzall blade. But there's a 10mm in here. So you guys can see this between these two pack pieces. We pretty much cover all the bases. We have a tent, but even if you weren't carrying a tent, I have 2 tarps and a blanket. So we could easily make shelter along with this rope, the climbing rope in there. I think I probably have some paracord in there somewhere, packed away that I didn't even dig out. But we got multiple ways to start fires: matches, lighters, cotton balls and Vaseline and magnesium. We have the actual magnesium strip in there and flint with a knife. Again, multiple knives, multiple cutting tools, water bottles, tin cups, tin pots so we can boil water, we can collect water, paper, again for kindling or bandaging. We do have gauze between the 2 bags, tape, so we can handle. I don't have any food, but that's one thing you do rotate. And when I pulled stuff out to go on our last trip, I pulled out some old granola, but plastic bags or vacuum sealed bags of granola, or MREs. It's a good thing to toss in these. You just never know. Candy bars, granola bars last a long time. So good stuff to keep along with you. Rubbing alcohol, stuff for the dogs. Another good thing would be like maybe a stocking hat, a couple pairs of gloves to throw in. Hands are important, especially when the temperatures are really cold. It's tough to do much of anything if your hands are freezing off. So I'd always suggest having a pair of gloves or some mittens in your bag. They don't weigh much and you can crunch them down into almost nothing to toss them in there. Now these are, again, are not the only bags. We have other bug out bags. They're up here on the shelf. I got 2 additional bags. This one actually is dedicated to first aid. So we would grab this one on the way out if we were really going somewhere, bugging out somewhere. That one's got some more cutting stuff and pew-pews and whatnot. It's really important just to cover all those bases. You know, again, fire, shelter, water, and food, or tools that can help you attain either one or all of those things. Like if you're not carrying bottles of water with you, have something that you can boil water or you can catch water in. And I'd always suggest having some sort of food with you, whether it's granola, candy bars, something with some calories that can help you survive a couple of extra nights. But if you don't carry food with you, then again, in this situation, make sure you have the tools or something handy that will help you get food, whether it's fishing lures and some fishing line, knives, snare traps, something that you can hunt, dig, forage with. And of course, we already talked about shelter and fire. So we're covered. We got all the bases covered really with these. I could really refine these to bug out scenarios rather than camping. I'd probably chuck the tent. That would really save me a lot of weight, and I could pack some more stuff in there, whether it's more clothes or more tools. I didn't dig around in there too. There's actually a back pouch on the inside. I have a couple of maps and an atlas in there. But that's it. That's pretty much covers it for those bags. I'm gonna wrap this all up now and I'll show you what the final thing looks like before we put her back up on the shelf. So basically just got this wrapped up like this, and you can again just grab it by the rope, toss it into the truck or wherever. Actually, carry it like this on the backside, but that just holds the tarp and everything together. And now we put the final piece on. There we go, all set up as if the tarp and pack are a seat in the Jeep. Just wrap this seat cover on the front of it. It's all good to go. I can just grab this and throw everything in the truck when we're ready to go. But for now, she's back up on her spot in the shelf, ready to go at a moment's notice.